we have a special guest at the Tavern today. We have independent tag team superstars Duke and Gannon, the main event. What's going on, fellas?
Nothing much, man. How you doing? How you doing this nice day?
We're enjoying this weather. It's a lot better than what we have been having.
Right?
Definitely.
So you guys have been hitting the roads a lot lately. You know, it seems like independent wrestling's kind of gearing back up. How does it feel to get back out there and wrestle in front of fans after, sitting at home for months?
I feel great. Like it's one of those things where, 2020 was such a slow time for wrestling, and, the shows were all hit or miss. And obviously if there was a crowd at all, it was super small or super restricted. So it's nice. It's nice to be back in front of the crowd. That's our favorite part of doing this is being in front of people or being able to perform for people. So, they've seen the crowd sizes grow like month after month with restrictions being lifted it's really cool.
Yeah, it's very optimistic seeing a lot of people come out to shows, and with the news coming out, giving people more opportunity to come out and just go to live events in general. It's kind of like a optimistic, a very kind of gets you in a positive mindset. So
yeah, I mean, we saw you guys last weekend in Charleston, and that's the biggest crowd that I've been a part of since 2020. I mean, I was surprised at how many people were there, and I mean, the crowd was live, so it was definitely a lot of fun to be back in that setting.
Yeah, what's West Virginia's restrictions on capacity right now?
Well, to be honest with you, I thought that the capacity, I didn't think that we were allowed to have any indoor events like that. So that was a little surprising to me. I know a lot of, they have been slowly lifting, and I know restaurants are back to 100% if you can social distance.
Yeah,
okay.
we were extremely strict. Like, we were one of the strictest states as far as they didn't lift anything. But I'm wanting to say maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, like Sneed said, they opened up the restaurants, and I'm guessing when the governor lifted all of that, it allowed indoor events, because when Conquest started putting on those shows, I was surprised because there's a lot of other independent stuff around here that has been completely shut down, and the only thing they were allowed to do were outdoor shows.
Okay.
Okay.
What was it like for you guys during the pandemic? Because the indie scene before this thing hit last March, I mean, the indie scene was popping, and then it hits and everything shuts down. So what did you guys do? How did you feel? How did you keep yourself busy?
It sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked. I was gonna say it sucked, especially for us. So right at the end of 2019, we had our WWE tryout. So we were down at the PC, living life. Everything was great. We came back. We had a match for Future of Honor. So we got to wrestle with, some Ring of Honor guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right after that, we got to wrestle the North from Impact.
Yeah.
We're on a roll. We're like, dang, we're, dabbling in, each, company. And then just pow, March came. Man, that was it. It really killed us until August?
Yeah.
August.
Pretty much.
So, I know for me personally, I took up bicycling. I got really into it last year.
Okay.
I was going out doing 10-mile, 20-mile rides. And wow. Aside from being a kid, I haven't rode a bike in, forever, but I really got into that last year. So that's kind of what, as far as an activity standpoint goes, that's kind of what I did to stay active in place of wrestling. It's not the same at all. We try to, we talk every day still. So we're constantly bouncing ideas off each other because we knew it was going to come back. So, we were still watching film. We were still ping-ponging ideas off each other for when we did come back. We were still getting gear, different gear and different colors and stuff.
Right.
So it didn't really stop as far as the mentality of it. It just stopped, from an actual doing it standpoint. So you just had to try to occupy your mind.
Yeah. Especially after this kind of like spotlight the year. So think about this. At the end of 2019, we had Wrestle the North. We had a run with the IWC tag belts with a really good run. We had 2019, we also met MVP. He became like a mentor toward us.
Wow.
And then we went to the WPC and had a tryout. Then we came back, faced the North again, and then we went to Maryland and wrestled SOS, and then everything shuts down. So you gotta understand, like, our mindset going into February, our mindset was like, man, we're on a good clip right now.
Yeah.
We kept telling each other, man, this is the best year. We've been together at that point 2 years wrestling, tag team wise. And you go on that clip, it's like a roller coaster. You just keep clicking up, right? So we're like, man, this ride is about to be crazy. This ride about to be crazy. And then you got to think about it. So the ride gets to the top where we think is the top, and the ride stops.
Yeah.
So now the ride stopped. We're just sitting in the seat. So now you're kind of getting antsy, right? So when everything shut down, I kind of got antsy. I didn't have anything to do as far as like I was working from home. Like Gannon, he works from home, and then I couldn't go to the gym. So there's no gym for me to go to, right? So there's no gym. Okay, now I got to do workouts in my house, either in my house or outside. And I didn't leave my block for about 3 or 4 months.
Oh, wow.
I was on my block, but I would run. I started running, and I started more or less not just doing like push-ups and sit-ups, but like more or less like doing like I would run far. Like I would just keep running until I feel like turning around. So I would run like for like 45 minutes every day.
Wow.
And then with doing that, I started falling in love with just the mere fact of me just being alone for a minute. And then I'm like, okay, I'm feeling better. I started watching a lot of like all Japan wrestling. And that led into watching more WWE stuff from way back. And then all of a sudden, the sun started peeking out of the clouds. We're hearing about, we got a show. Our first show back, I believe, was, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Again, we had a double shot, right? We had IWC, the movie theater show,
and Imagine.
Outside, and Imagine the same day
in Altoona.
In Altoona. So we came back. It was like the clouds opened up, the ride started moving. Now the ride's moving, right? We're not really going nowhere, but the ride at least like, okay, the ride's moving. We go to Altoona. We win the tag belts in a squash match, and then we're like, oh, we're back on this ride again.
Back on the ride.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds like you guys were right on the verge. Like, I mean, it sounds like
felt like
right.
it at least.
Yeah, it felt like it. That's what I'm saying. Like we don't know what 2020 could have been. We know what it was. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I guess what it was is what it was supposed to be anyway. So it's like we could only imagine, like, oh man, what could have been. And I mean, if you look at everything, you check every box. Think about it. All that happened in a matter of, I want to say, maybe 5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
And that same year we had 5 tag belts.
It's crazy.
It was like, hey, I mean, if someone has a checklist, I'm pretty sure we kicked all the checklists off. The checklist is like blurred with TME all over it, but like when we came back around.
One of my favorite pictures is the with you guys with all the belts, and the Dudley's picture with them with all the belts.
Yeah. That was another one of our idols. And the funny thing about it, we met him, and we met Bubba Ray. Well, he was at Ring of Honor, Bully Ray, that year, same 2019. And it was like I said, if you want a box to check, it's a weird thing, but it's like everything was happening in 2019, and then March 2020 was like, the ride shut down. But we're still on the ride right now, so it's picking back up.
I mean, that's huge because like at the time you guys faced the North, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys got a win over the North.
We did.
Yeah. And at that point, the North was top 3 tag team in the world. I mean, they were firing on all cylinders. So that's huge, with the PC. And what was it like getting that tryout with the WWE? What was that process like?
I mean, it was crazy. Oh, real quick before we go into that, the first time we faced the North was also for the Impact titles, which was actually
Oh wow.
Nice.
that's the one we lost, obviously, but it was
Right.
cool just to have the referee raise the Impact titles in the middle of the ring before our match.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, that year was awesome. But no, I mean, as far as the process, like me and Duke talk about this all the time. We were both at work. It was, I believe, October.
Yeah.
2019. Yeah, it was October, and we were both just at work, whatever. And I looked down and I saw I had an email like from the WWE, and it was like it was an invitation to accept a spot at the PC for a tryout. So they're like, you know, we're inviting you to want to come to the tryout. So that so it was one of the things where you had to accept the invite and then get a formal invite after that. So I saw that and I texted Duke immediately. I was like, did you get the same email I got? Because the first thing that came to my mind, and it probably shouldn't have been like this. I should have just been excited. But the first thing that came to my mind was, is Duke going too? Like, that's the first thing that I thought. I didn't like read the rest of the email. I just saw it.
That's a good tag team partner.
Yeah,
Right
I
there.
texted Duke. I was like, wait, I can't do this. I'm not going alone.
Yeah.
And he was like, wait, what do you mean? Let me look. And then he called me. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? To a little bit of that story, when he hits me up, he said, "Do you get that same email?" I said, "What email?" And I started sweating, like, because I'm like, first I'm thinking, what did we do last weekend? Because I'm like, we were on the road. We came back from Cleveland, I believe. We had something going on. Like, did we beat somebody up? Like, I'm thinking about every negative thing. Like, what email? He's like, check this, and I check the email and I see it, but before I get there, I'm thinking, if he gets an invite and I don't, I'm gonna cry right now.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna still be as excited I would be any other way.
Sure.
But seeing that email, and it was like in the spam box too. I'm sure it was on his spam box too. It was like in a promotions, the promotion side of Google.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. They made you dig for it, and I was like, how long has it been there? You know what I mean? Like, is it too late? But you know, back to his story. Yeah.
No, yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy because me and Duke were talking about, like, usually if I get an email, you guys are probably the same from WWE. It's buy this Samoa Joe T-shirt,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
like shirts are buy two get one free or something. So like I see those emails all the time. Get the network and what's Sasha Banks gonna do this week? You know, stuff like that. So
Championship belts, 40% off.
yeah,
Right,
so
yeah.
you get an email it's still WWE email, but it's like kind of different. It's like, wait, hold on. So we both obviously replied like, yes, we can go. They
Yeah.
basically asked if we could go like that December in like a couple months or later in 2020, which, spoiler alert, those trials still have never happened for the people that tried to do the later in the year one. We actually have a friend who had the opportunity to do the second wave, still hasn't gone down. So
Oh man.
so yeah, we said yes to the December ones, and then now we're just waiting around like, is this gonna happen or whatever? Then we get like the formal email, this huge packet, all this cool information, like be ready to live your dreams as a WWE. All this cool.
Oh my, that's got to be a rush, man.
Yeah, but it's like awesome because like that's what you dream of. Like whenever
Yeah.
you get into this and you get into this because of the WWE, to get an invite from them to come down from the look at you it's ridiculous. So now we have to get physicals done and then that was a whole thing because the physicals happen. I'm battling with high blood pressure. Duke has a slow heart rate. We're like, oh damn, we're about to, because they're very strict on that. Like, when we got there was a guy who got sent home because of his blood pressure. So they're so like strict on like, if you're gonna do this tryout, you have to be absolutely cleared. Because if you pass out from this or you have a heart attack or a stroke, it's not on us. Like you have to check all boxes, and you know, good on them for that.
Now, is this a physical that do you have to go through their doctors or can you get your own?
Both.
Oh, you go through your own. Yeah, but you go through your own first.
And then when you get down there, You go.
So they want to double check, make sure they ain't bullshitting you.
Basically,
yeah.
So like my doctor was like, "You're good." He's like, "But your blood pressure is high. So I'm gonna pass you, but I'm gonna mess with your medication, and I'm whatever." And Dukes was kind of like, "You might
The
have
opposite.
to see a cardiologist."
Yeah. So the WWE was like, I sent them my stuff, and they were at first they faxed my stuff from my job has basically a hospital in it. So I went there, the nurse's office. They faxed my stuff that they were like questioning to the WWE. When they faxed it to WWE contacted me. It was like, you're running a risk of not coming because of what they said. So I had to go to a cardiologist.
Oh my God.
Just so him to tell me, you're fine. You're just an active human being. And then
right.
And the funny thing was, he's like he's a fan. He loves he checked out a couple of guys that came through WWE before. He got all these posters, pictures. It was kind of cool. And he was like, "You're good." He's like, "Just don't forget about me when you get signed." I was like, all right, cool.
So but you guys get that email, and then you're like little roadblocks, like, oh God, every little thing's gonna possibly stop you from going.
Yeah, it was like many heart attacks every day. It was like every day leading up to the day we were on a plane. And then when we got off the plane, it was more mini heart attacks because of had to do the same thing there and them saying the same thing that we already were told before. It was like,
yeah, like we got down and we had to go through their doctors. So they had us in like, we got down, we actually were backstage at NXT that Wednesday before. The tryout was officially Thursday, but the Wednesday before we were backstage at NXT, they had us come in for extra work. But we were back there and they did our physicals right then and there. And they had us do the normal, like squat down, are your knees good? And, normal stuff.
Right.
Duck walk.
Yeah. They took my blood pressure and the doctor looked at me and he was like, no.
No.
He was like, this ain't working. And he was like, I guess my like top number was like 170 or something crazy. And he was like, chances are you're nervous because you have high blood pressure. You're down here. Doctor's looking at you. He's like, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to chill out. Like just, kind of let your blood pressure come down. And he walks away. And I tell Duke, and I'm like, but at the same time, like, now I'm even more nervous. Like I'm trying to like clear my mind and not think about it.
Fix this.
Yeah. I text my wife. I was like, I think I'm gonna be coming home. She's like, oh my God, why? I was like, my blood pressure. She's like, are you kidding? I was like, no, like it's high and they told me where it's at. They can't pass me. Doctor comes back. He's how you feeling? I was like, good, I think. Slapped the cuff on, did his little pump up thing, and was like, he's like, you're literally one number below what I had in my mind to tell you no. He's like, wow, you're gonna go with this? He's like, you got to get that under control though. He's like, that's serious. He's like, you really got to get that work looked at. He's like, but I'm gonna give you an okay. And I was so nervous, but it worked out. Then the very next day, someone got sent home for the exact same thing. Like,
wow.
They're like, yeah, you got to go. They like, and it's crazy. Like, he didn't even get sent home like to his hotel. Like, yeah, just enjoy Orlando. I know you plan on flying home on Saturday. No, leave the hotel
today.
Like you're going today.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, like they were not playing.
So you were one number away from that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, he wanted me to get under 160, and it came back 159.
Whew. By the skin of your teeth.
Literally, man. It was scary. It was
weird. So I like walked away from him because I was like, man, I don't want to make you more nervous. But maybe me walking away made him even more nervous because he's by himself. But I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to. If I talk to you, I don't know if it's gonna raise it or lower it. You know, I've been around him all day long. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And once you guys get in there, that you get cleared and you do the. What's the? I know they run you through the gamut of just like physical, putting you bumps and all of that stuff. Like, what is that like?
Insane.
It's put like this. It's like any boot camp you ever went to. I don't know if you ever went to any boot camps or like did any like insanity workouts in your house or at a gym or anything. Right. put your mind in a place where you know you're going to be uncomfortable, and think about us doing that 2 times a day for 3 days.
Oh my God.
So whatever it is for you, it could be anything. You know what I mean? Like whatever that uncomfortable spot is for you, just know you're going to be doing that for 2 times a day for 3 days, and in front of William Regal, Matt Bloom, Smiley. You're doing it in front of all these people, and then NXT guys like who else? Who was there? And Archer.
Yeah, like
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest was there.
He was there.
Team was there, and they just, I mean, they use the facilities to work out, but they'll come and just sit down and watch your tryout.
Yeah.
And now you have extra eyes on you.
Right.
So the nerves, blood pressure go up.
Yeah. Your blood pressure's going up. Your nerves, your heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like everything is just, your mind is racing too. So sometimes your mind is running more than your feet. And you know, like you're just, so it gives you a chance like to understand like pressure, because everybody is watching. Like you're literally on show. And there's cameras everywhere. There's drones flying around inside the building. It's insane.
Yeah. So it was the physical aspect of it. It was the promos. They had us talk as soon as we got there. That was the first thing they did. And then matches were the last thing we did. So promos
after all that,
boot camp, wrestling. Yeah. So
it seems like they're trying to break you. I've heard that they're trying to break you.
That's literally all it is. They know that. And the whole thing is they want to see your response to being broken. They know they're gonna break you. Like they know you're gonna in your head like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. But then what?
Right.
Actually,
there's a reason.
Or you just keep going. And that's what it was. Like people were throwing up. People were having to take breaks and like kind of walk to the side. And you know, so it was just one of those things where you just had to keep going, and everyone was on the same team. Like no one felt like we were competing against each other. We all were like, you know what, if they can sign all 50 of us, cool, let's do it. Let's all do it. So it was everyone was encouraging each other. Everyone was, you know, if you were in the ring and you visibly like, man, I'm about to give up, you had people pounding on the mat like, come on, let's go, you got this.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool feeling because none of us met, but you know, me and Duke knew each other, but we were all complete strangers, but no one acted like it. We all acted like we came there on the same bus together.
Same dream.
Yeah. And that's really what brought us together. And like, there was wrestlers there. There were just other athletes. There was models, people who have been wrestling for 15 plus years, people who have never been in a wrestling ring in their life, everything in between. But like everyone pushed themselves, which is super cool. You know,
you think you had an advantage having a support system with each other there?
I definitely think so. Because I mean,
absolutely.
There were some people there that were there by themselves. There was a couple tag teams there, and then there's people that you maybe have seen on the independent circuit here and there, so you knew of. But actually, like having someone there, that was huge for sure.
Yeah, because I would think I was ahead of him because they did alphabetical order or whatever. So I'm ahead of him in all the drills. I go before he does. So I would literally think, all right, if they don't know we're a tag team, I'll make sure they know this, because every single time I'm done, I'm running over to where he's at or whatever, and it's clapping, you know what I mean? Like being loud, you know, boosting them on. Even when I was tired, I was just thinking, they can't see us be tired together. You know what I mean? Like they got to see, if I just went through a whole drill, I got to run. I immediately run over and I just start clapping, pounding on the mat. You know what I mean? Because I was like, they got to see us have that same energy. You know, even if they didn't know that we're the tag team, they got to feel like, well, these two dudes must know each other, you know? And I think that kind of helped us, because it kind of pushed me like, all right, I got this 6th ring. I need to run this way. You know what I mean? Or I need to, wherever he's at, I need to get there and then clap. You know what I mean? So kind of like my drill didn't really stop until I met up with him. And we kept doing that with each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, switching gears. I hope I don't hit any sensitive spots here, but we saw you guys at Pro Wrestling Conquest, and there was a bit of a situation that happened that night. We had some asshole, let's just call it like it is, some drunk asshole decided during your guys' match to take Duke's helmet.
Yeah.
You know, for those that don't know, Duke comes to the ring in a football helmet. It's kind of a part of your guys' thing.
It's a TME branded helmet.
Yeah. And somebody took it. We had no idea. I walked outside. I saw people running. I was like, what the hell's going on? And then I saw Facade kind of helping you dudes out. So like,
well, it was crazy because I saw the streamers were going in the ring, and I was like, you guys had just put on a hell of a match. Like the match was
Austin Aries and Madman Fulton, hell of a match.
And then
Ace Austin.
Ace Austin. Yeah. My fault.
And then I looked and you guys were gone. And I was like, well, what's going on? And then I saw everybody running outside. Yeah.
So what happened? What, from your guys' perspective, what went down?
Good, dude.
Well, first off, let's just talk about the match. Well, we can go back and forth, but first, the thing that really like kind of like catapulted the whole thing was we actually had an exchange with this guy earlier. He like hit my helmet or something like that, and you know, fans do crazy stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like fans do crazy stuff, and we're in a situation where like we're baby faces. You know what I mean? So like we gotta be very careful. We gotta toe a certain line that heels don't have to toe, right?
Right.
And I feel like, you know, like bygones be bygones type thing. All right, cool, move on. We moved on, and at the end of the match, I remember like the standing up, and I even looked to the left, and I was like, my helmet must have fell. But I'm saying it to myself, right? And a guy comes over, and he's like, hey, man, my friend, he's drunk. He took you guys' helmet, and he said he wanted you to come over and have a drink with him. But he was like, he left with it. I guess wherever the after party was at, I guess he was going there.
Okay.
But here's the thing. You don't touch the wrestlers, and you don't touch the ring, and you definitely don't touch what's on the ring. You know what I mean?
Right.
It could be anything. You just don't do that. That's like going to a rock concert and taking the guy's mic stand, even though he's not using it. You just don't do that. You know what I mean? You don't go and unplug an amp because they're packing up. I'm going to take this amp home. Like, no. Oh, come have a drink with me, man. I got your guitar. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Well, you don't even get on stage. I mean, that's going into somebody's office.
So you see what I'm saying. So you see exactly. I just want to put you in the mindset.
Oh, how many dudes have we seen hit the ring, fans hit the ring and get beat down by Macho Man or Triple H? You don't get near the ring. That is off limits.
So we have to understand also, we've got people that come to these shows. This is their first time ever. A lot of people came up to us and was like, hey, this is my first time at a wrestling show. Hey, this is my first time, blah, blah, blah. You got to understand also, and now that I'm kind of like sane, is that you have to understand that a lot of these people never seen a wrestling show, have no idea what to do or what's the rules of engagement on a wrestling show, because wrestling is very different than any other entertainment, right?
Right.
Because the crowd is a lot of what we use the crowd uses us. We go back and forth because it's the engagement, it's entertainment, it's live, right? It's not like you're staring at the stage watching, Bon Jovi sing. You know what I mean? You kind of like, you're involved with it because you got a stake in it, because you're like, oh, I like this guy, I'm gonna cheer for him. Or I like this person, I'm gonna boo that person because I like him. You know what I mean? So it's kind of different, but it's still the same aspect of entertainment. So he crossed that line. And when it happened, like I said, we were in the match. I had no idea. Like, we had no idea. The guy told us, and when I turned around to Gannon, I was like, hey man, dude took my helmet. And as soon as I said that, it was over. It was immediately red. We're gone. And we went outside, and Bates was trying to track him down to get our helmet back. Because you got to understand something else. It's like, it takes a lot for wrestlers to get to a lot of these shows. It's not like, we wake up one day, and you become a wrestler, it's like you just sit in the corner and you just come to a show on a Saturday afternoon or a Friday afternoon. You just come to a show and that's all you do. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm done here. I just go somewhere in a box and wait for Friday so I can open back up and walk out to a show. Like, there's a lot of things that we have to do to take care of just to get there and perform for people. And so when it happened, I felt disrespected. And, you know, I kind of just went off and trying to find a guy, which we ended up getting the helmet back. The guy brought it back to Quantum Sports, I believe the name of it.
Yeah, well, we were standing outside. We were talking to a friend of ours, and then Chad looked down the street and he said, "Is that guy is he holding a helmet?"
Yeah, because I knew you guys were looking for it, and I looked all the way down. I see something white, and I'm like, I think that guy's got a helmet in his hand.
And then by the time we started realizing it was a helmet, we saw him bringing it back in. So
yeah, it was one of those situations because, like, you know, before I was saying, like, you know, people don't know. This is a teachable point for everybody. And, you know, at the time, I'm very upset. We're very, very upset. Me and Gannon, you know, we're very upset at the situation because first of all, it's respect in the matter. Another thing is a security thing, right?
Yeah,
let's say this guy grabs the helmet. Who knows how he got the helmet? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Let's say this guy grabs the helmet, right? And he's you know, he frails the helmet around, hits an old lady or something, knocks her out.
Right.
You know, frails around, hits a kid. That's why I wear it. I wear that helmet. I don't wave it around. I put it on the ring post. Right. It stays right there. There's a reason why I don't frail stuff, you know, in the crowd, because you don't want to hit anybody, because that is also, you know, that's a liability thing.
Well, we're glad you got it back. That's for sure.
Yeah, we were standing outside, and I'm like, "See, man, we finally get a decent promotion that starts bringing people, and then some."
This is our first good show since the pandemic.
I'm like, no one's going to want to come back. I'm like, you ruined the whole show. So when we saw the guy coming back with the helmet, we're like, thank God.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where, like, obviously brought it back, and I don't think for one second like him doing that is affected Conquest at all. Like, they're doing a lot of good things, and we had a talk with Derek, the owner, afterwards, and he's big on he's like, I need to get barricades, or I need to button up security. He's like, that kind of thing shouldn't happen, and it won't happen again. So, and with newer promotions, I know this isn't their first or second show, but just they're still newer.
Right.
You know, every show is a learning experience. Like, okay, like, this went wrong. How can we make it better? Or we wanted to draw 300 people, we only drew 190. Like, what went wrong? Like, something in marketing. So I feel like every show, it's a learning experience. You're trying to get better every single time, and it's like that with everything in life. So, like, if you're not doing something to get better at that thing, you know, what's the point?
Right.
So, and the other thing I was thinking afterwards is, yeah, that he took our helmet. Yeah, we got it back. Cool. What if it was Ace Austin's X Division title?
Absolutely.
Now what does he tell Impact? Oh, I went to do this indie show and some fans stole my title. And what if he didn't bring it back?
Right.
And he has a show the following week, and he's the X Division champ. Like, it's one of those things where now he might get reprimanded. Like, oh, okay, well, I know that's not your fault, but maybe let's cut down on your independent bookings. Now he's getting less money. Like, so it's a thing where, you know, when you step back and you look at it, you're like, you know, it could have been a lot worse. Something else could have happened. And then, but on the way home and the next day, we were cool. Like, got the helmet back. We had a talk with the owner, the promoter, and, you know, it's water under the bridge. And, you know, he assured us that, you know, he's taking his steps to remedy it, so the next time it's a non-issue. And we trust him, we believe him, we really like Derek. We don't think that he's just BSing to get it to come back or anything like that. You know, he doesn't want that to happen either. That's his business, you know. When something like that happens, you know, he owns a car, you know, a car lot. Yeah, you know, you don't want people messing with your stuff, and you want things to run smooth. So yeah, no, it's all good now.
I'm glad it all worked out. Let's go back to the beginning. How did you guys meet and become a tag team? Like, how did that happen?
Oh man. So real quick, I think I told this before. So when I first wanted to like wrestle or whatever, right? I used to like look at I didn't know I wanted to wrestle until I knew I always wanted to wrestle, but I didn't know how to go about doing it. Then when I finally doing some research, I found this company. It's called PWX in McKeesport, PA. And at the time, Gannon was the champion. He was the heavyweight champion. And I didn't know the company from Paint other than I knew Jack Pollock because he told me about it. He's from IWC as well, and he wrestled at PWX. And I started researching, and then I saw Gannon's match. And I remember seeing how his hair, and I had dreadlocks, I was growing my hair at the same time. And I was like, man, it would be cool. And I saw this picture of him, like perfect lighting. He had this red and like this blue, red, white, and blue Letterman jacket. And I was like, yo, it'd be dope to be his tag partner because he had like the similar, we were like similar size, right? Mm-hmm. And you could tell, sometimes you just look at a picture, he was very tall because he was damn near, his head was almost at the top of the little entrance. And I was like, man, it'd be dope to have him as a tag partner. And I kind of put that in the back of my brain. And it was like, well, you need to start training. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah. You know, you got to get to training first. And I was like, all right, slow down, dude. You're booking tag partners. Slow down, guy. So I wanted to start training at PWX where he was the heavyweight champion. And I was training. He had already, like I said, he was already champion there. He had already been wrestling, I want to say, what, like 4 years? Like 3 or 4 years?
You got there, I think I was already wrestling like 2.5, 3 years. Yeah, 2.5, 3 years. So when I came in, you know, they always said, hey, man, you got to be Gannon. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, that'd be dope to meet him, you know, but they was like comparing me to him, like my size, this, that, and the third. And he was like, yeah, man, he does a moonsault. I'm like, I'm not doing any flips. You know what I mean? I'm not doing any damn flips. But I was thinking at the time, I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to meet him. And I finally met him at a show, and I had to like, you know, because I was working ring crew and stuff like that, setting up, cleaning up, doing stuff like that. He was like, man, I was just like that. And it was like, we just started talking. And then I want to say maybe a year later, after our debut, we kind of like joked about it backstage, like, man, it'd be cool to be a tag team. We both got long hair. And we kind of like always said that to each other every show we were at. And then after I had like a run with the belt, whatever, and I dropped the belt, I remember talking to him, and he was like, dude, I hit him up on randomly. I was like, yo, man, we gotta do this. And he was like, dude, if we don't do this, somebody else is gonna do it. And they're gonna put 2 football players with dreadlocks together, and we're gonna be done. And I was like, I was like, all right, let's get it together. So we kind of like we got together, we sat down back in, I want to say like 2000, the end of 2016. We kind of like sat down and kind of mapped out what we want to do, how we came up with the lion, and how we came up with the name, the main event. Not the main event, sorry. How we came up with Locked and Loaded first, was very easy. We had a couple names, but it wasn't anything crazy. But like Locked and Loaded was like the name that stood out the most because of our hair. And like it was like we're locked, you know, we loaded with talent. So it was like Locked and Loaded.
Yeah.
And we and so we got together around 2007, beginning of 2017. We debuted March 20th, I believe, March 20th. 2017, and we've been rock and roll ever since.
Yeah, and then fast forward to beginning of 2018, we did a show at a high school. It was like a charity show at a high school, and this show took place like right after like 3 or 4 consecutive school shootings.
Oh wow!
Like, a bunch in a row. And we had this show, and literally right before we walked out of the curtain, the promoter came back and he was like, we can't call you guys Locked and Loaded in this school in front of these kids. It just doesn't sound right. There's another guy there named his nickname was the Bullet Catcher. And they told him, they're like, just for tonight, you gotta be the Patriot,
Something else.
something else.
Yeah.
You know, just something.
Right.
And they're like, what do you guys just want to be Duke and Gannon tonight? It's not a big deal. We're like, well, at the end of all of our promos, even when we first started tagging way back in beginning of 2017, we would end all of our promos with welcome to the main event. And it was, and we were heels. It was just kind of us being a jerk. Like, if you're getting in the ring with us, well, you're in the main event. Welcome, you know,
Yeah.
type of deal. And I looked at Duke. I was like, let's just be Duke, Gannon, the main event. Like, we'll just be the main event. And he's like, it's a good idea. Let's go there. We told the guy, he's like, all right, cool, we'll do that. And they did the ring announcement thing, and we, you know, went out, did the match, came back, and we were like, that just felt right.
Yeah.
Locked and loaded, it's done. We're the main event.
I like it. I like the logo even on your hat. Like I'm a big boxing combat sports fan, so
Okay.
it makes me think of TMT, the money team, Mayweather's brand. How the vibe of it. TME. I love that.
Yeah, and that's actually where we got our first logo from. Was actually like a spoof or a spin-off of the money team.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So this was the original logo that we, for that exact reason. We both like Floyd, boxing, all that stuff. And it wasn't until just a few months ago,
Yeah, during the pandemic,
the end of 2020, where we're just like, I like the TME logo, but it's still Floyd Mayweather's logo, essentially. Like, we just changed the last letter. So I started messing around, and I was like, whoa, let me see if I can come up with like our own design.
Yeah.
You know, that way, like, moving forward, we'd have our own thing. If we ever make it big, we don't have to worry about copyright, you know, this and that.
Right.
So that's where we came up with like a modified version, like our own version of it, to make it look a little bit more collegiate, almost like how a college team or something would look. You go with the whole, you know, athlete thing. That's been it. So yeah, 4 years this month we've been tagging.
That's awesome, man. Is there like a particular tag team? I know you faced the North. We talked about
SOS.
Is there like a particular match or a particular tag team that you guys look back on and like, man, in that match, we really learned something there. We took something from that.
We learned a lot from a lot of all our matches, to be honest with you. But I would say the North, and I would say the matches we had at Blackcraft, because we had we basically had tag team royalty from the Indies. You know what I mean? They had Butcher and the Blade.
Yeah.
You had the Crist Brothers, and then you had M Dog and Josh Prohibition. And here we are.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, man, this is, well, so we kind of like went around, kind of like picked brains and like watch and observe how not just a match getting put together and all that. We watched and observed how they talked to each other, or how they conducted themselves backstage, or how the intricacies of what they were trying to like, you know, what they were trying to bring to the match. And we learned from them. And I mean, all those guys who was on TV. That's his name, you know what I mean? Yeah. Josh he trains now at AIW, you know, and he was wrestling 20 some years. And then the North, another, you know, lineage tag team that we soaked up so much knowledge from, you know what I mean? So like we go into every match looking to learn something from someone, you know what I mean? But those four teams were like kind of what eventually shaped us into what you see now.
Yeah, and I would say like with the Crist brothers, like it was funny because going into that match, we heard from several people about how big of the assholes they were.
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh, we gotta wrestle them. Like, this is gonna be like this whole ordeal. Like, I don't feel like getting in an argument with them backstage because they're not about to talk to me like that. That's our mindset. Like, we're already defensive. We didn't even talk to them. So like, dang, they come up to my chest, like they're not about to be disrespectful. Like, I don't care. But they were nothing like that. So we learned a couple things from that, not just like from a in-ring standpoint, but from that moment on, we looked at each other, we're like, I don't care what anyone has to say about another wrestler. Until I meet that wrestler, I have no opinion on them. Because people will tell you that, and it's not just wrestling. In general, they're like, "Oh, you're working for such and such. Oh, he's the worst manager ever." And you're like, you have this preconceived, notion in your head, and you go into it thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be the worst," and it's nothing like that.
Yep.
That's how it was, and we learned a lot from them. My biggest takeaway from them in particular was their memory, like their attention to detail. Sometimes whenever you're in these big multi-man matches, you kind of know your part, you focus on what you got to do, let them do their part, and you basically just look for cues, like, okay, he's over there, all right, now it's my time to do my thing, or this person just went out the ring, okay, now I can react. With the Crist brothers, it wasn't like that at all. They made sure they knew what every single person was doing every single second from the time the bell rang until it was done. And that's another thing that we now do. Like when we're in these matches and there's a lot of people involved, it's not just knowing our part, it's knowing everything that goes into it.
Right.
And you don't necessarily need to, but like just sitting back and listen to him, then be able to just spout out every single thing like that's going on, whether it had something to do with him or not, was just so interesting. Like, dang, like this is so cool. Like they just know everything that's going on in this match. So that's something we took with us. The last team I will say that was huge for us was the Frat, which is Trent Gibson and Channing Decker. When we first went to IWC, that was our first match there, and that was our first like rival, against. And that was the first time we were in a ring, in a match with a team that afterwards we're like, they're better than us. Like, like they're actually like, because to me at this point, like we were not on our high horse, but we really felt like, oh, we're really good, we're this, we're that, we can hang with anyone, and we could. But it wasn't until we wrestled the Frat that we were like, okay, we have a lot of work to do, because these guys are way up here, and if we're gonna get there, like we still have ways to go. And that's such a good thing for anyone in any situation to come across. When you think you're good at something or you're doing something well, for someone to come along and do it better than you, you can look at that as, oh, screw that person, or you can take it as, dang, like I need to up my game. And that's kind of how we did it. So
it pushes
that's
you
something
to be
we
better.
try to, exactly. And that's something we try to instill in other, up and coming teams that we wrestle as well. We want to make sure that they can learn from us or ask us questions, or feel that after the match, like, hey, like I can get better, that way everyone's going upward,
To even put like a sports spin on it, think about like when Patrick Mahomes faced San Francisco 49ers, he killed them by himself. And he like kind of like, I'll wait the third quarter and take over. And he did. And he tried to do the same thing against Tom Brady. But the thing about Tom Brady, he has a resolve. He has a championship resolve. That's Patrick Mahomes. Right. He's been there and he lost there.
Yeah.
So the Frat kind of like showed us is like, yeah, we've been there, but they've done that. You know what I mean? Like they've had bigger matches to that point. To that point, I think that was our biggest match. So like they've been there, had bigger matches on television, you know what I mean? On Impact. So it's like they've been there, done that. So like, okay, let me show you guys how to really use your talent instead of just going through a match and just doing whatever. Mm-hmm. So like we kind of like took that thing and like applied it to what we're doing now, and like learned from what I could conceive as like a win-loss. Yeah, we won the belts, we lost in the actuality of a tag match. But now we're like, okay, it won't happen again, because we're gonna learn, we're gonna use this piece of tool that you gave us and apply it to everything we do. And every match we go into, like I said, we learned something. Like we went to New York for Mania weekend, and we watched Big Swole's entrance.
I love Big Swole.
And we thought we were hyped. They came up behind us. I was like, usually no one comes behind us. Like our entrance. Usually it doesn't happen a lot. And this night they came, it was her and Ryan and Nicole. And they came out, man, so hyped and so like, I don't know, vibe. And the crowd was with them and they were like rocking the crowd. And I'm like, this is crazy. This super hype. This is crazy. This never happens to us. And I remember again, they like tapping me and saying, they're hype. They're way more hype than us. This one, he was like, this would never happen again. And
like pissed. Like it
pissed, yeah. Before the match, nothing happened. I remember like there's a picture of us like walking by each other. And I'm like, wow, they got this picture of us being hype. You should see a picture of us now in the ring hype. Like it's totally different.
That's great. Now, you guys talked about 2019 and how you were on this, just riding this wave, pandemic hits. So I'm going to give you your moment to shoot your shot now. Where is the main event in the next 2 years?
TV. Television.
We're on TV. Sure. I don't know where. I don't know how. I don't know when.
Yeah, we're gonna be on someone's television.
We're gonna be on someone's television. So yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't know. You just gotta put the work in, and try to stay as positive as possible, because there's a lot of things that happen in this industry that knock you down, not even intentionally. Like certain things happen and then you kind of sit back and you're like, well, damn, like what the hell do I have to do? Or like, and you can never, kind of, you should never, compare yourself to someone else and someone else's path. And it's so easy to do that in every aspect of life, especially wrestling. You could be wrestling for 10 years and the guy who just started wrestling a year ago, he's at the performance center and now he has a contract. And now you're looking at yourself like, did I just waste 10 years? And it's so, or I quit, like I'm not doing this anymore. It's so easy to get like that. So the easiest thing to do is just keep focused and keep the mindset of why you're doing this to begin with. If you're doing this solely to get signed, there's a really high % chance that it's not going to happen. Like it's tough. It's like going to Los Angeles. Like I'm going to be the next,
Brad Pitt.
Williams. Like, like that's a really hard thing to do. But if you really love acting, or in this case, wrestling, you're going to make the most of that Colgate commercial you got to do. Like that was
right.
dope. But it's taken that and getting more and more from it. So so in the next 2 years, we're just gonna keep plugging away, keep doing what we're doing, keep adding to what we're doing.
Ain't no stopping.
Yeah, you never want to do the same thing over and over. Everyone knows what that is. It's insanity.
I will say though, those NWA tag team championships would look pretty good with you guys.
I agree. We're actually just talking about NWA. I love that setup.
Yeah, that's my favorite setup right now.
Yeah, that's what I said to Duke. I was like, this is legit the coolest setup, I think, right now. Like
I love they give their performers kind of that. They're big on the promo too, so it seems like a great place to develop yourself, not only in the ring but on the mic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's definitely a good spot though.
Mm-hmm.
They have they basically took what they did in the '80s and like snapshot it and then brought it to now, which is kind of hard to do.
Yeah,
but man, they did a really good job with it though. They did a really good job with it.
Yeah. We do a YouTube show every Tuesday that reviews NWA.
So, okay.
I mean, we love it.
Yeah. They got
All right,
some really
guys.
cool stuff going on for sure. I think all the companies do. Like I feel like there's just really cool things that each company's doing. Like I don't we're not guys who are like, oh, this company sucks or this one's
Right,
dumb.
yeah,
Like
same.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
There's
Like
a lot of
wrestling's
good
wrestling.
variety.
The
out there.
variety
it's
is
like-
cool. Like,
yeah, it's like, do you want to eat Lay's chips or you want to eat Doritos? You know what I mean? Maybe you want some
Exactly.
pretzels. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like they
Yep.
give you everything's there for whoever wants, to enjoy it.
yeah, and like there's some people who enjoy every single thing that's out there. There's some people who are, if it's not, AEW, I'm not watching it. And that's
Right.
cool because you have your thing that you can watch. And I don't think anyone's ever wrong. It's so crazy when you see people putting down promotions like, oh, WWE is so corny because this and that. And I'm like, no, like it's actually really cool. Like,
Yeah.
Something for everyone, like
That's
if you
how
don't
it
like
is.
it, I've never understood people that sit around and complain about something they like. I would rather talk about things I like.
That's,
You know what I mean?
You hit the nail on the head. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's crazy because especially, and you guys know, the wrestling community is crazy. People love to talk about what they hate
Yep.
about wrestling.
I always say no one hates wrestling more than a wrestling fan.
That's and you know what?
True.
I'm a big Star Wars guy, and I feel the same way about Star Wars.
Yep.
Like, no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
With
Always
super
complaining.
nerds, they get
Yeah.
sensitive, man.
They are. And like
Yeah.
I put wrestling fans in that category. Like,
Yep.
if they love something, they love it so much that they hate it now, and
Yep.
that's a weird. That's so uncomfortable to me. Like, you can't just love it to love it. Like,
Right.
Right, turn it off.
yeah,
Wrestling fans, man. We love
Yeah.
wrestling. Like that's
Right.
whatever hour we can get it.
yeah. And the cool thing about wrestling, like compared to other sports, is like if you don't like the NBA, there's really no other pro basketball you can watch. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
you can watch college or you can watch high school, but as far as from a professional level, that's it.
Right.
But with wrestling, it's so cool because on a professional level, there's so many different platforms you can watch.
Yep.
And take away something positive from. So who knows?
Well, before we let you guys go, it's our shoot sixer, and it's 6 questions that we ask. We like to have a little fun before we let you go. So it's not rapid fire, but just have some fun with it.
Right.
All right.
I like that.
Our first question is, what does it take to join the JV squad?
Okay. Are we each answering, or what's the?
You guys can tell however you want to
Tag
go.
in, tag out, however you want to do it.
Okay. What does it take to join the JV squad? Well, first thing, you can't be better than us. Can't be. But you have to be good enough to be associated with us.
Yes.
Yep.
And you have to
That makes
show
sense.
you have to show some promise to eventually want to be part of the varsity squad.
There you go.
No pun intended.
Yeah. All right, question number 2, and we'll get both of your guys' response on this. The
Okay.
Montreal screw job. Whose side are you taking? Bret Hart or Vince McMahon?
Ooh. I go first. So I can't remember how old I was. I think I was like 12, 13. Whatever how old I was then would have said Brett, right?
Yeah.
Now, as a grown man, I'm siding with Vince.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because he gave Brett all types of different opportunities. And as a business owner, his main job at that time, at that mom and pop store called WWE, he need to get the belt.
Yep.
I do not need to even have an inkling that you're going to appear on WCW with this belt.
Right.
Yes, I need this belt, and however I need to get it is how I need it.
Right.
I understand that as a grown man, but younger me, Bret Hart. So
Yep.
older me is with Vince.
Gannon?
Yeah, I mean, similar. Younger me's like definitely Brett. Older me understands why Vince did what he did, but older me still on Team Brett.
Yeah.
Brett's also my favorite wrestler ever, so that's not a that's.
Oh yeah, you got
Yeah,
to
so.
stick with that.
But no, like I mean, I do get it. But at the same time, the part that always rubbed me the wrong way is the lack of trust that Vince had in Brett to not do that.
Right.
That always bothered me. It's like, yeah, he could, but what has he done to make you think that he would actually do that?
Right.
Because he was a company man forever up until that point.
100%.
So the lack of trust always like killed me, and for him to go about it that way, like he was better off just letting the match play out and then just stealing the belt from Brett's
It's true, yeah.
from his locker and going, oh man, someone must have stolen it from you. That sucks.
Yeah, maybe if he did that, he wouldn't have got sucker punched by Brett.
Yeah, and it was such a public like humiliation type of thing. Like, and every time I watch it, I just feel for Brett. Like he had no idea what was going on. And I think about it as a wrestler from my perspective, like you expect something to go a certain way, and when it just does, something else happens, you're like, the real life comes out and you're like, what the hell just happened? Like, wait, what? And it was just, it sucked. I don't know, but I'm on Team Brett for that one.
Did he just take my helmet? What
like
right.
All right, we're in Pittsburgh for the night. Where should we get a meal?
Oh man. All right, so I'm dieting, so I can't help you there right now. I can't even walk in the restaurant with you. But there's this place. If you want a meal, if you just want a pizza, two different things. But if you want a meal in Pittsburgh, I like to eat nasty, like just eat like whatever, right? But if you want a good meal, I would say go get a good steak somewhere. I would either say Morton's or I would say Eddie Merlot's.
Eddie Merlot's good.
Ooh, okay.
But if you just need a pizza, there's this place in Bellevue called Maxwell's. It's unreal.
I'm putting that down. I'm
yeah,
Maxwell's.
Pizza, yeah, pizza's my thing. So
I'm more of a pizza person. Like I'm not a steak person, so like I'd always pick a pizza. But yeah, Eddie Merlot's, that's a good one. I wouldn't have even thought about that.
There's apparently a pizza place up in Pittsburgh that puts cold cheese on top of the pizza. Though.
Yeah, Beato's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they actually do cool toppings. Yeah, so like the bread's hot, the sauce is hot, and then they just put a handful of fresh, cold ass mozzarella on top.
That's crazy.
It is, and it's one of those things where if you get it like to go and you got like a 15-minute drive home, the cheese starts to melt. Like it's not the same. If you get there, like the cheese is still cold. The sausage is still cold. It's so weird to hear like, I don't know, but like if you're like me and you can eat pizza the next morning cold for breakfast.
Oh yeah.
You're not gonna mind that. But yeah, like I feel Duke's choices are all good. If you've never been to Pittsburgh, I feel like you almost have to try Permani's. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
But
there's a Permani's in West Virginia now somewhere, I think.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think they brought one around here.
Yeah, I feel like you got to try it. I don't hate it, but I'm not like, oh, it's the greatest sandwich ever. But it is good. It's a very Pittsburgh thing. Yeah. So there's a couple good places.
All right. So question number 4: when you're driving around in that Mini Cooper, you're hitting the road. Each of you have one album for the road to listen to. What album are each of you picking for the road trip?
I'll let you go first, G.
Yeah, mine. I don't have one particular album. What I would play is Hall & Oates' greatest hits. So just take, because their albums space out like 20 years, and all their good hits are all sprinkled in between. So I would just take because what I play of them on my phone is like through Apple Music, that Hall & Oates Essentials.
Oh yeah.
So it just plays all their good shit. So that's what I would play. We're on a road trip. I'm putting on the Hall & Oates greatest hits.
I like it.
Love it.
Right.
Easily. I would say that, or I would say toss between the two. Lil Wayne, Carter 3,
Okay.
or The Weeknd, Hills Have, is it called Hills Eyes? No, The Week.
Is that on Starboy?
Hills Has Eyes. I think it's called Hills Eyes. Anyway, I can't remember the name of the album right now. It's off the top of my head. It would be something from The Weeknd because we listened to those three: Lil Wayne, The Weeknd, or Hall & Oates.
I love it.
I love
A
that
lot.
mix.
A lot of DMX is sprinkled in
A
there.
lot of DMX is in there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So question 5, you guys are making towns. Well, you can have 3 tag teams in the car with you, alive or dead, making those towns with you. What 3 tag teams are you bringing with you?
Oh, that's a good one.
Damn, that's a good question.
I almost feel like I want to make my own teams.
Right.
You can mix and match. Yeah.
For me, the Dudleys are number one, smashing that Mini Cooper with us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then on top of their lap, I'm probably gonna throw. Oh man, like this is a good one, but probably gonna put Edge and Christian on there.
Okay.
And then the very last one, and this isn't one so much because of the team, but because of one person on the team. But I'd also put the APA in that car.
Oh yeah.
Because of Bradshaw. I'm obsessed with him. So I love you, Farouk, but this is strictly because of Bradshaw.
He loves JBL.
Yeah.
I love all 3 of those teams. I'm gonna go a little different. We'll go more WCW heavy.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go Doom.
Oh.
That's because of the brute strength, and I think the stories would be cool. And rest in peace, Butch Reed.
Yeah.
Also, I will go Steiner Brothers.
Oh, that was my 4th.
The feud between Doom and Steiner Brothers is
right.
Those matches were so good.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go because I always use them for like advice when I talk to like up and coming guys. I will go Rock and Roll Express.
Oh yeah.
Man, because they just have the best chemistry of 2 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just love Rock and Roll Express. And then
They're still doing it.
Still doing their
they're
thing.
still doing it. They're still doing it, still going crazy. And then I would slide in through the back door with a spray paint can and a 2 sweet air, the Outsiders.
You got to the outside.
Nice.
Oh man.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
I want to be in that car.
wow. Both of those cars, those teams, that's like a who's who of the best of the best.
Yeah.
And final question for you guys before we let you go. Who is the main event?
That's a good question. The main event, man.
Man, who are we?
Yeah, I was say the way I look at it is we are a mindset, and the reason I say that is because the whole idea of the main event, the welcome to the main event, came from a mindset that we've always had. So that mindset is pretty simple. Treat every moment, every opportunity, every match like it's the main event. And it doesn't matter where you're at on the card, doesn't matter where you're at in life, doesn't matter your position at work. If you go about everything you do as if you're the main event, like your company is doing what they're supposed to do.
Whoa.
Oh, remix.
Right. Did a little quick little
There we go.
DJ Clue right quick.
But so that's what I would say. I would say the main event is a mindset to just, approach everything with the mindset that you are the main event, that you are the reason that people are there to see the show, and when you go about it with that, in mind, it's just extra fuel, because when you think like that, it's like, well, these people are here to see us. We're the main event. We're the reason people are here. So let's not let them down. Let's not disappoint. Let's put on the best show that we possibly can. So
we definitely didn't disappoint in the main event that we saw last weekend, and we definitely can't wait to see more of you guys. Let everybody know where they can find you guys.
Duke.
At Duke Davis _ at Gannon Jones Jr. at It's the Main Event. On Twitter, on Instagram, it's at It's the Main Event, at Duke Davis TME, at Gannon Jones Jr. That's one N, GANON,
Spell my name
GONES.
wrong.
Yes, it's one N. Stop tagging me and stuff and having his name misspelled. It pisses me off. It's one N. It's not two N's, not three N's. All right, just one N. But yeah, man, we're all over Facebook. Like us on the Facebook, the Main Event, and also subscribe to us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel was just now getting kind of wheels rolling. You gotta search for us. It's the main event on YouTube. So search for us so we can get our own name on YouTube. We need that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
help us out.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be subscribing for sure. And man, we appreciate you guys coming to visit and talk to us, man.
Yeah,
and
thanks so much.
we're looking forward to watching you guys continue on that climb and to make it over that hill on that roller coaster.
I'm convinced we're going to see you guys pop up on one of these shows we watch.
Oh yeah, we're going to be watching one night.
Soon.
Here goes the main event. We're going to mark out.
Oh yeah.
Awesome,
Hey,
bro.
remember, this is the first time we ever said it was on this show. So remember that.
Remember that.
Yeah. Well, when you guys get on TV, you come back on and let's talk about it.
Definitely.
Well, thank you guys. Have a good night. And, again, thank you so much for giving us your time this evening.
Absolutely.
No
Thanks for
problem.
having us.
Thank you.